Yes, my name is Stefanie Sheehan. I'm the founder of Mastermind Your Launch and host of the Mastermind Your Launch podcast. I have been coming to 1 Million Cups for a while, but many of you still may not know who I am. And more than talking about what I do, today I really just want to share more about who I am. As Steve mentioned, I have a speaking engagement tomorrow. I'm so excited to be going back to my alma mater, which is Brenau University's Women's College, and speaking to the entire student body there, nearly 1,000 students, in a presentation called an event called Girl Power. This is not the exact same presentation, but it's inspired by my journey. And when it comes to business, a lot of people think ROI, and I'm very driven by ROI, but mine is a little bit different. And it's very rooted in my journey, which I'm going to take you through. But what really inspires me is reinvention, ownership, and impact. And what's beautiful, especially about an organization like 1 Million Cups, is the ability to connect to so many people that are driven by those same ideals. So going a little bit, way far back in my journey, Taking the Stage is the name of my presentation for tomorrow. As I have kind of gone back through my own story to see, where were kind of those big pivotal moments that have made me who I am today, I actually found that it was very rooted in my very young childhood. A little bit about me. My family is from Puerto Rico, and my entire extended family still lives there. But I grew up in Metro Atlanta, raised by a single mother. It was my mom, my brother, and I. And my mother was a nurse, worked 2 jobs. And so my upbringing, 1, caused me to grow up very quickly. 2, it really caused me to not really have the village around us that so many people are so blessed to have. So I spent a lot of time alone, spent a lot of time caring for my younger brother. And what that, brought about in me was, a lot of insecurity about fitting in, about, being accepted, especially, when you're so young and you're so wanting to be a part of that certain crowd. I had a lot of insecurity around that. But I found that there was one place where all of that went away, and that was whenever I took the stage. I've been dancing since I was 3. I still dance today and perform. It is my passion. And what I found is that it didn't matter how much money you had, where you bought your clothes, the friends that you hung around with. When I got into dance class and I started dancing, that was the great equalizer. And funny enough, that has actually been my story throughout my entire life, is when you get on the stage, it is the great equalizer. I mean, even look at this group. It doesn't matter who's got, what your success has been to date, where you're at, if you're at the beginning, if you have, multiple successes and accolades. The second someone steps right here, everyone's going to be looking at them, and I believe that is such a beautiful thing. And I believe that it's something that a lot of people can leverage to make a huge impact in their life. So fast forward many years, I graduated with a marketing degree, went on to complete my MBA, spent the next 8 years working with entrepreneurs. I worked with 4 different companies and ended up being the sounding board for the owner. Now, the annual revenues for those companies spanned, just launching, so 0, to 1 million, 10 million, and 100 million in annual revenue. So I got a firsthand look at a lot of different aspects of running a business, and I was very inspired at my ability to take what I had learned and launch a business. But I had no clue what that business is going to look like because I hadn't connected to the impact that I wanted yet. I knew I wanted to reinvent myself. I knew that I wanted to take ownership because, as probably many of you have felt if you've ever been in corporate first and then launched your entrepreneurial career, maybe you got burned a little bit. Yeah, I had one of those moments. I made someone a lot of money and then they shut the doors and packed up shop. And I said, never again am I going to not enjoy the fruits of my own labor. And I knew that I wanted to make an impact. I was so inspired as I was listening to podcasts and hearing these stories of people going out in the world and doing incredible things. Younger than me, less resources than I had, less education, and experience. They were going out there and making something of themselves, and I said, I need to think bigger. And so what the seed that was planted was, I'm listening to these podcasts and I'm getting really inspired. They're inspiring me. I think that I could do that. And I did. I ended up launching the Mastermind Your Launch podcast about a year and a half ago, and that really is what propelled me to reinvent my career and create a life where I am amongst people that inspire me so much and bring out just the best in me. So a little bit about what happened when I launched the podcast. First of all, within the first 8 weeks, I landed some incredible guests. Brian Scott, he's local, so you might know of Brian. He was in the NFL for 10 years. He's a local entrepreneur and philanthropist. I actually got to chat with him the week that his episode on Shark Tank went live, so that was an incredible conversation. He was one of my very first episodes. Nick Unsworth, he is, think about like Tony Robbins in business kind of together. He's an amazing Life on Fire community. He can host a 3-day event and get $800,000. His events earn him about $800,000 a pop. Got to sit down and talk with him about how he incorporates masterminds into all of this for his clients. Susanna Specia, she is another local nonprofit founder. This woman is incredible. First of all, she's so young, and within a year of launching her nonprofit, she had sponsorships like Google, Grammys, MailChimp, supporting her. She and I connected when she gave her TEDx talk and was able to have her on the podcast as well. But that was just the beginning. Within just a few months of launching the podcast, actually got to sit down with the podcast that inspired me, which was Entrepreneur on Fire. Anyone here listen to Entrepreneur on Fire? Yes. So got to meet John Lee Dumas, got to interview Kate Erickson on the show. This podcast earns them nearly $500,000 a month. They have done a great job of monetizing. So being able to sit down and pick their brains about how they did that at such an early stage for me was an incredible opportunity. And then for my tech people in the house, KP Reddy, local tech, very involved in the tech community, hello. Venture, he started his first business at the age of 19. He was the general manager of ATDC for a time, and now he's changing the world with CTW Venture Partners. What this platform allowed me to do was host my first live event, taking a page out of Nick Unsworth's book. Didn't quite make 800K, but that's okay. With a sponsorship from MailChimp, we had nearly 60 entrepreneurs registered. We had speakers. We had masterminds. It was an incredible day. I know some of the people here were in that room. And what's incredible is that this event was hosted within 6 months of launching the podcast. You know, and to be able to secure a partnership with such a notable company is just incredible. But it's the power of the platform. It's the power of putting your voice out there in a big way. It's the power of building your community through content that opens so many doors so much faster. And then today, I've had the ability to speak for several organizations, be a guest on other podcasts myself, from local Atlanta to even across the pond in the UK. It's been an incredible platform, but of course it required me to get out there, to shed any insecurity that I had about being bold and going after what I needed and what I desired and the impact that I wanted to make. But so much came back to me as a result of it, because people start to connect. The more that you put yourself out there, the more that you put your heart and your mind out there for people to see, the more it's going to come back your way always. So today, Mastermind Your Launch offers courses, consulting, and content creation for passionate entrepreneurs. I have seen the impact that a well-planned content marketing strategy can have, and for anyone. I mean, I was reinventing my career, so really kind of starting at ground zero. But for someone who's even farther down the line, imagine what a well-thought content strategy can do for them, for positioning them, for growing their network. And for me, it's got to be highly branded, extremely personalized, and especially compelling. So if you are out there and you're thinking, I want to reinvent myself, I want to take ownership, I want to have some impact, then I'm going to have to say that I really hope that you will consider that all of that is waiting for you when you take the stage. So that's all. Thank you so much.